Now, our operations manual becomes our blueprint. Our what? For how to think and behave and basically survive in the world. And together, these ways of being that we filed are called our personality, or our ego self, or our conditioned mind, false self. You are not your personality. That excuse doesn't wash anymore. This is just the way I am. No, your personality is nothing more than egoic idea you made up as to who you're supposed to be to survive in the world and fit in. Now, there's 4 critical things you need to remember. Number 1, that this way of being or personality was primarily created by you in order to what? Survive, not thrive. Big difference. Number 2, this way of thinking and being is based on the assumptions of a very young child. Now, in addition to what we learn from our own experience, we also get conditioned with all the do's and don'ts and rules that other people gave us. Who are some of the people who gave us some of these do's, don'ts, and rules? Who are they? Parents, who else? Teachers, school, who else? Church, religious leaders, who else? Friends, media, absolutely. Good, absolutely. Now, the most important thing, however, to remember, listen closely here, this could change your life, is that this programming or information and the personality that you created because of it is not the real you. It's not who you are. It's only a recording, a what? A recording of the information you learned as a child, stored now on tape. And now that tape, that what? Plays unconsciously, automatically, and habitually. And you know that tape as the little voice in your head. So, you are not the tape. You are the tape recorder, the tape player, the player of the tape. Understand? You are not the program. You are the hardware, the computer that plays different programs. You are not what's in the glass. You are the glass. You are what's holding what's in the glass. This is very important to recognize. In the same way that you're not your hand, you're not your mind. Your mind is a part of you, but you are much bigger and greater than just your mind. You are the container, the vessel that holds what's in your mind. And the key to true power and freedom is to be able to disidentify with your mind, to be able to distinguish between yourself and your mind, to be able to separate and get some space from it so you can see your mind and what we call witness it from an observer position, watching it do its thing. When you can separate, when you can disassociate from being the voice, then for the first time you can actually listen and watch the voice do what it normally does without it stopping you. Once you realize you're not your mind, then for the first time you have true choice in the present moment instead of being run based on automatic programming from the past. That's what we call consciousness. Once you realize you're not your mind, you can watch your thoughts and feelings bubble up, but you don't have to believe them, and you don't have to act or not act based on them. They're just bubbles of recorded information. That's all they are, that we don't now have to buy into. Most people don't know this, and they make the big mistake of believing that their conditioning or who they learned to be, their personality is who they are. And so their lives are run by the conditioned mind or the ego self. Their lives are run by the voice in their head. So again, even though the way we are is normal, it doesn't mean it's our natural or true self. It just means this is the conditioned way what we live in. Research shows we actually have 2 parts to our brain. One part is called the medulla. And the medulla is known as the lower brain. It's also the oldest part of the brain. It's also known as the reptilian brain. Its primary function of this part of the brain is one function and one function only. Remember, it's reptilian. What's its job? Survival. That's all it knows. Survival. It's instinctive. It's survival. Fight or flight is all it knows. Its job is to separate the information and direct the flow to the rest of the brain. In short, our filter of the world is an information director who is primarily based in survival and therefore fear. It's unbelievable how fearful we live. And the reason now you know, because every bit of information that's coming in is coming in through this filter whose job it is to scour everything and search for what problems could be there. I want you to start watching yourself now. Watching what the voice is saying. If you start listening to that voice, you'll notice very seldom does it have anything really good to say. See, no wonder most of us are still searching for inner peace, inner power, love, joy, meaning in our life. Unfortunately, the controlling part of our brain isn't set up for that. It's not its function. The conditioned mind is first and foremost a survival mechanism. And yet most of us are constantly trying to use this mind to figure out how to be happy. The issue, as Einstein put it, is you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it. So what's the answer? Well, you can start by reconditioning your mind. You can slowly record over the old tape with new, much more supportive messages. Or you can bypass the entire fear-based, ego-based system altogether and learn to live in your higher and true self. So where do you find your true self? Here's good news. You don't have to go anywhere to find your true self. In fact, you're already there. Your true self is always with you, and you find it as soon as we turn down the noise, the incessant chatter of the conditioned mind. You know what? You just got the ultimate secret of enlightenment. It's a secret some people have taken 40 years in a cave to discover. That the most direct way to connect with your true self is to quiet the chatter of the mind. When you quiet the mind, you'll naturally also be peaceful and powerful and joyful and wise. Because when we are in our true self, we are directly connected with the highest power in the universe, the intelligence of nature, the intelligence that created the world, that which animates us. You can, many names. Some people call it higher consciousness. Some people call it universal intelligence. Some people call it God. The problem is our connection to our true self becomes blocked by the constant activity of the conditioned mind. And so our goal therefore has to be to pierce the veil. And when we pierce the veil of the conditioned mind, not only do you find your true self, but you automatically tap in to the highest intelligence in the universe. That's why you're immediately powerful, peaceful, joyous, and wise. What exactly is a warrior? You know that a warrior is not actually a specific person. It's an archetype. And archetypes were used in mythology as models to help us better ourselves. Basically, there are 4 archetypes. So there is the warrior, there is the wizard or the magician, there is the king, and there is the lover. Those are the 4 archetypes. And the warriors, this archetype was the archetype of inner power. And what is power? The definition of power is what? The ability to do or act. Therefore, the warrior's way is the way of action in the real world. That's the warrior's way. The secret here is for you to learn to access your warrior energy at will. Now, if you can practice and maintain the warrior energy here, that will develop into a cellular response. And the best thing about the energy is if you've really got it, chances are good you won't have to use it very much. It's like a martial artist who's like a 7th Dan black belt. Those are the ones who never fight. They don't have to, because everybody knows you don't mess with them.